April 26, 1986, a date that echoes with the silent screams of an unseen catastrophe, the Chernobyl disaster. Just north of the vibrant city of Kiev, nestled in the heart of the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, lay the town of Pripyat. It was a model city, built for the proud workers of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, a symbol of the Soviet Union's technological prowess and a testament to the power of the atom. But beneath the surface, a storm was brewing, one that would forever change the course of history. On that fateful spring day, a routine safety test at reactor number 4 spiraled out of control. A sudden power surge, a devastating explosion, and within moments, the core was exposed, spewing a lethal cocktail of radioactive isotopes into the atmosphere. The very fabric of life, the DNA in our cells, stood defenseless against this invisible enemy. The initial response was one of disbelief. How could such a disaster occur in this fortress of atomic energy? The local firefighters, unsung heroes of this tale, rushed to the scene, oblivious to the deadly radiation. Their bravery in the face of the unknown saved countless lives, but at a steep cost. As dawn broke, the magnitude of the disaster began to sink in. The reactor was beyond saving. The surrounding areas, once bustling with life, now stood eerily silent. The air, heavy with the weight of the unseen catastrophe, carried whispers of a future forever altered. The Chernobyl disaster was not just an explosion, but the start of a long and painful journey for the people of Pripyat, Ukraine, and indeed, the world. It was a stark reminder of the power we wield and the respect it commands. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to continue unraveling the mysteries of history with us. In the aftermath of the explosion, the true scale of the disaster was yet to be realized. In the early hours of that fateful day, Chernobyl's Unit 4 nuclear reactor exploded, releasing an unimaginable amount of radioactive materials into the environment. The initial response was a frantic scramble to contain the situation. The nearby city of Pripyat, home to many plant workers and their families, was eerily silent. Despite the invisible danger lurking in the air, it took a full day and a half before the Soviet authorities ordered an evacuation. Over the course of a few hours, the city of nearly 50,000 souls became a ghost town, leaving behind a chilling tableau of abandoned homes, toys, and remnants of everyday life frozen in time. Meanwhile, an army of workers, later to be known as the liquidators, raced against time to contain the radiation. Clad in makeshift protective gear, they were the unsung heroes of the disaster. Firefighters, soldiers, miners, and volunteers risked their lives to extinguish the radioactive fires, build a containment structure around the reactor, and clean up the contaminated area. The bravery of these first responders, many of whom were not fully aware of the risks they were taking, cannot be overstated. They were the vanguard in a battle against an unseen enemy, a battle that would claim many of their lives. Even today, their sacrifice is a haunting reminder of the human cost of the disaster. Despite these efforts, the containment of the radiation proved to be a Herculean task. The radioactive materials spewed from the reactor were carried by the wind, spreading across vast swaths of Europe and beyond. The invisible enemy had been unleashed, and its devastating effects were only beginning to unfold. As the world watched in horror, the invisible enemy of radiation began its silent assault. Radiation, the silent killer, began to weave its deadly web. As the dust from the explosion settled, a new, invisible threat emerged. This threat was not one that could be seen or heard, yet its deadly reach extended further than any could imagine. Radiation, an insidious poison, worked its way into the lives of those exposed, slowly and silently wreaking havoc. The people of Pripyat and the surrounding region were the first to feel its deadly touch. Many were unaware of the danger they were in, carrying on with their lives as if nothing had happened. And that's the terrifying part. Radiation doesn't announce its presence, it silently invades, leaving a path of destruction in its wake. In the years following the disaster, health problems among those exposed began to surface. The rates of cancer, particularly thyroid cancer, skyrocketed. Many suffered from acute radiation syndrome, a rapid and severe illness caused by exposure to high levels of radiation. The children born to parents who were exposed to the radiation started showing birth defects and developmental problems. The health impact of the Chernobyl disaster was, and continues to be, staggering. And the environment was not spared either. The radiation contaminated the soil, water, and air, creating what is now known as the exclusion zone, a vast and eerie ghost town where human habitation is forbidden. The thriving ecosystems were disrupted, with many species of plants and animals suffering mutations and population declines. Yet within this bleak landscape, nature has shown remarkable resilience. Despite the high levels of radiation, wildlife has started to reclaim the exclusion zone. Wolves, wild boars, and even some rare species like the European bison and Przewalski's horse have been spotted within the zone. It's a strange, unexpected outcome that scientists are still trying to understand. This silent killer, radiation, has left a lasting legacy on the health of those exposed and the environment. The Chernobyl disaster serves as a stark reminder of the invisible threats that lurk in the shadows of our technological advances. Like and subscribe to our channel to learn about more historical events that shaped our world. The Chernobyl disaster was not confined to the Soviet Union. Its impacts were felt globally. Indeed, the political repercussions of the disaster were far-reaching, shaking the very foundations of the Soviet Union and reverberating throughout the international community. The Chernobyl disaster, a stark manifestation of the inherent dangers of nuclear power, sent shockwaves through the political landscape, accelerating the collapse of the Soviet Union. This catastrophic event revealed the weaknesses in the Soviet system: lack of transparency, disregard for safety procedures, and a culture of secrecy that exacerbated the scale of the disaster. Simultaneously, it exposed the unpreparedness of the world to handle such a calamity. Internationally, the disaster sparked a renewed focus on nuclear safety and a re-evaluation of nuclear policy. The International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, was tasked with promoting global cooperation in nuclear safety. The Chernobyl disaster catalyzed the establishment of the World Association of Nuclear Operators, an organization dedicated to enhancing the safety and reliability of nuclear power plants worldwide. In the immediate aftermath of the disaster, countries around the world tightened their nuclear safety regulations, introducing stringent requirements for reactor design and operation. The event triggered a shift in public opinion, with many countries witnessing a rise in anti-nuclear sentiment. This led to a slowdown in the construction of new nuclear plants, and in some cases, a complete halt. In Europe, the disaster resulted in significant changes to the European nuclear safety framework. The European Union introduced stress tests for nuclear power plants, and a new directive was issued to ensure that member states maintain a high level of nuclear safety. In the United States, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission initiated a thorough review of its regulations and procedures, leading to significant improvements in nuclear safety. The disaster also inspired the creation of the Institute of Nuclear Power Operations, which promotes excellence in the operation of nuclear electric generating plants. Ultimately, the Chernobyl disaster served as a stark wake-up call to the world, highlighting the urgency of nuclear safety and the need for international cooperation. It underscored the catastrophic potential of nuclear power when not properly managed, and the importance of transparency, safety measures, and preparedness in mitigating such risks. The echoes of Chernobyl still reverberate today, a chilling reminder of the power of the atom. Chernobyl, a name synonymous with disaster, but also a symbol of human resilience. This tragic event has left us with profound lessons that resonate even today, 4 decades after the disaster. Firstly, Chernobyl highlighted the utmost importance of transparency, particularly in matters of public safety. In the wake of the disaster, the Soviet Union was initially reticent, withholding crucial information about the extent of the catastrophe from their own people and the world. This secrecy exacerbated the situation, contributing to misinformation, panic, and ultimately, unnecessary loss of life. Today, we understand the necessity of open communication, especially in times of crisis, to ensure the safety of all. Secondly, the disaster underscored the critical need for safety measures in nuclear power plants. The explosion at Chernobyl was a direct result of design flaws and operator error, a deadly combination that could have been prevented with stringent safety protocols and rigorous training. It served as a wake-up call for the nuclear industry to prioritize safety over all else. Thirdly, Chernobyl taught us about the importance of disaster response. The brave men and women, known as the liquidators, who risked their lives to contain the disaster, showed us the significance of preparedness and courage in the face of adversity. Their heroic efforts have shaped disaster response strategies worldwide, emphasizing rapid, coordinated action and the safety of responders. Chernobyl remains an ongoing challenge, with efforts to contain and mitigate the effects of the disaster still underway. The construction of the new safe confinement, a massive steel structure built to encase the reactor and limit radioactive contamination, is testament to our continued commitment to overcoming this disaster. As we remember Chernobyl, let us not forget its lessons. The importance of transparency, the necessity of safety measures, and the essence of effective disaster response are all integral to preventing another Chernobyl. So, as we delve deeper into history's most significant moments, remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into history's most significant moments.